Hello all. Welcome to the finale episode of Arts and Culture Stories with Khushboo Bagga, where we explore intersection of arts, culture and design. And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome the two powerhouse women of the art world on my podcast today. My first guest here, Tarana Sawhney, is a well-known art promoter, collector and a dedicated art patron whose passion for nurturing talent and fostering artistic dialogue has made a significant impact on the art community. She also serves on the boards of various prestigious art institutions, among the other roles. My second guest, Bhavna Kakar, the visionary founder and director of Latitude 28, a premium gallery in India showcasing contemporary Indian art. She is also an editor-publisher on Take on Art magazine. Welcome to the both of you. I'm thrilled to have both of you. Let's get started. So before we dive deep, let me ask you girls some fun questions, some fun icebreakers. Tarana, we go with you first. What is your take on fashion?
Thank you very much for having me here, Khushboo. I'm very excited to be a part of this episode along with my dear friend Bhavna. My take on fashion is honestly what I make of it or what anyone makes of it. You have to take what is available and then make it uniquely yours.
Okay. And how do you describe your personal style?
I would say comfort for me would be the biggest priority, and comfort has to be from the outside as well as the inside. So I have to kind of feel myself and feel like it's an expression of my language that I'm putting out there visually.
Okay. Yeah. And Bhavna, you? What's your take on fashion and what is your personal style?
Comfort is my style with a cast on. So that says it.
But do you call yourself a classic dressed up person or edgy, or like what is your style? What do you like most? Apart from being comfortable, of course.
Yeah, comfortable and oddly appropriate. I see.
Okay.
So yeah. So I like to extend that. I like to not go by the trend. I love textile.
Okay.
Yeah, I love textile. I do love what Indian designers are doing now with our tradition and reversing the very traditional norms. So yeah.
Who's your favorite Indian designer, Tarana, for contemporary and ethnic wear both? I want to know.
I don't know about favorites because there's so many wonderful people who are doing such great things. I'm wearing Pero. So forever Pero's muse.
Okay.
I love what Aneet does, but I think my sensibilities tend to go towards handwoven, towards craft, towards artisans. It goes towards where I can see that generations of tradition are being passed on, and I think I would call myself a traditionalist, but because we are part of the art world, that edginess or that contemporarization sort of tends to come in because, the lines are blurred very easily between fashion, design and art, and it's all kind of the same creative space. So a little bit of that will come in. What is wonderful is that there are a lot of young designers and people who are working with loomsmen, people who are working with artisans, on looms and with hand-woven things. And then they are contemporizing that too. So it looks really good and I'm super happy to support that.
How lovely.
Yeah.
And Bhavna?
I like Galloway clothes first, and I love a lot of Indian designers. Perry being one, totally favorite. A studio medium for I happen to wear.
Okay.
Akar, Bhavna Kakar. I love raw mango. I love what's done for the sari.
Exactly. Traditional Indian wear.
Yeah. Indian wear, and I'm very pleased on that. Millennials wanting to wear a sari.
He's made us fall in love with Indian tradition more. Yeah.
Yeah, so many of the different cultures, most in the more classic. I love lovebirds.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
Your favorite, and it's your favorite art right now.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, so I do love a lot of Indian designers, and I love what they're doing. And I'm delighted to see, especially with Dastapari Art opening just yesterday in Delhi.
Yeah.
And how the the weaves that we kind of ignored for some time. It's classic, it's boring, our mother saris, we've been like, no, I want the new stuff, I want the contemporary. And now we're all going back to the Banarsis and the Patolas, the hip cuts. And just the other day I was asking you, I want to put butterleaf.
Yes.
But the new design.
Tie and dye.
Yes. So I love what the young designers are doing with that and reinventing old the styles in
Contemporizing it. Yes. Totally. Oh, lovely. Textile or silhouette? What is more important for you?
totally textile.
Textile. Okay. And Tarana?
Yeah, I think I would go with textile too. Because silhouette, I can make my own, no? Sari, I can wear it how I want, drape it how I want. But it's the textile, yeah. I mean, just the feel of it in your hands, the weight, the feel of it against yourself and the purity of it and how it looks, yeah. Textile.
Okay. So Tarana, who's your favorite Indian artist? It could be visual artist. It could be contemporary, modernist, progressive, anybody.
Very honestly, Khushboo, I can't identify one. I think the ones that I do resonate with, that apply to different aspects of my life. What I can say is that everyone that I have carried on in my life with and my story with that artist has always been something that has touched something that is with me or, circumstantially has been something that, has resonated with me. Like, I'll give you an example. My family migrated through independence from undivided India, which is now currently Pakistan. And I think a lot of stories that I grew up with grandparents were about that time and how difficult it was and the whole feeling of what was home to them and how they had to make a new place home. So I think works by Zarina Hashmi have also her practice has been a lot about the idea of home. And that really, really resonated with me. And therefore, she is somebody that I have looked at very carefully for a very long time. And I think there are, it satisfies a part of your soul that just resides because of the product that you are.
Agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So I think, yeah, that would really be my answer. But India has so much
Many
talent
artists.
that how
I'm sure.
do I start from then Sukh, from the time of the Indian miniatures or, do I go to the company school or Amrita Shedgil or, the moderns or the progressives or a Shilpa Gupta of our time who's setting boundaries all the time. So, yeah.
And Bhavna, you? Who's your favorite visual artist?
My favorite artist has always been Nasreen Baum.
Okay.
Since my time in Baroda.
I'm sure.
That I studied in MS University, which was Nasreen's alma mater as well. She taught there too. And so that's the first time that I
Fell in love with
art. I admired it, but it's over a period of time that I was completely like, okay, well, this is when you're young, you're influenced by a lot of people. So, something could back to you, something's passed through. But cool, it's been 25 years that
she has been highly influential.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Tarana, your favorite visual artist international?
Currently,
Yes.
I think it's Rothko.
Okay.
It took me a few years to understand why people would cry in front of his paintings. And when it finally happened for me and I couldn't stop because of the feeling that it evoked, I think that's what's called evolving yourself in art. And eternally, it's always been René Magritte.
Okay. And Bhavna, yours?
No, that is, I have so many.
Name a few, maybe your current ones.
Kiefer,
Okay.
Basque, and not a phase of more Alan Rothko.
Any reason for you to love them?
Shilpa Gupta is also, I see her as an international artist.
Yes. Of course. Indian artist, but international. Yes.
Yeah. So
For any reason
favorite.
for your favorite artists? For them being your favorite artists?
I think the body of work are difficult to say, but like the quirkiness of Basque, the way Tarana just like Rothko. I think Kiefer does that movie with this amazing show. I saw the Venice. I mean, yeah, like I just didn't want to get out. I thought, if you throw me on the bed, like,
Okay.
but I was like, just one more round.
And we saw your Instagram post. Yeah, I was hooked to it.
Yeah, like, so it was just amazing.
Yeah.
So and Shilpa for like, I think the thought to her
Edginess and her.
yeah. So deep, other than
So deep,
just so deep.
Yes.
Everything she does, whether it's drawing, whether it's installation, whether it's sound work, I mean, anything she writes, everything is so, it's
Meaningful and deep and totally.
And so relevant. So I remember there was, when COVID happened and lockdown happened, obviously one was resonating with the art that was making you feel what it made you feel. And there was a project she had done many years before, where she had a public project with kids carrying balloons saying, I want to live with no fear.
Yes.
And fear is what we all were living with because the pandemic was the unknown. And I remember looking at that work so many years after she had done it and saying, oh my God, this is exactly what describes the way I'm feeling right now and what I want as a hope to come out of this situation. So Shilpa is amazing.
So Tarana, your favorite national or international art event?
I think national art event for me would have to be the India Art Fair.
Okay.
It happens in my city. I know it's a commercial event,
Yes.
but it's also what all of us have done with it. So, for example, Bhavna has always had the take editions around it. So that's a little bit of a foundation space coming in. We have, as FICA, always supported the Public Art Project at the fair. It's a great venue for us to take that on as a public art project. My husband Tarun and I host the annual opening party at our home. So we have friends from all over the world who come home and celebrate that moment. I'm actually also, as a national event, looking forward to the Chennai Photo Biennale. That's to open this year and at the beginning of next year, because I'm a trustee on their board and I love the team, and I think they're going to do a great
job.
visual
Yes.
ensemble together. As an international event, I would again have to go with Venice, maybe because I have a deep connection with it now after the India Pavilion in 2019.
Okay.
But it really is somewhere that brings the entire world together.
Art world, yes.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's beautiful. I think it's beautiful.
So yeah, I think these two would be mine.
Yeah. And Bhavna, yours? Favorite art, national, international, any event. It could be freeze art event, art classes, because you participated in all of them.
No, I would say, okay, little biased. Delhi Contemporary Art Week.
Oh, really? Of course.
No, but the energy of that fair comes completely from Bhavna and how she activates it on so many different levels.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, we also try to do one like we do, other than just being a gallery event, which is whenever the part between go on stand for connect the art, if it will have to constant is going to connect the art space.
Yes.
So, but other than that, we did the magazine and always like to do like an outreach. We've done a symposium last year. We did an international symposium. In fact, the Lord Minali is just on in George is the curator, and I invited him last year to speak as well as visit the gallery. So we've facilitated his visit. And every everyone's now part of it. So, yeah, so taking it naturally like that, he picked up a lot of the artists from here, from Delhi, that, during that visit. And so otherwise we try to do like a writing program or something around it. So I think that is, yes, of course. What is like a slide by India Art Fair is a great time for the city.
Great platform.
It's buzzing that on the year. So I thoroughly enjoy it.
Also get what it brings to the table.
Yes.
So it's fabulous.
Surround us. And internationally, I really like to get them, but that was once in 5 years.
Okay, yes. I still have to visit that.
Yeah. So the last 20, I started traveling to my college. So I've not had a single document.
Wow. And Tarana, your favorite city in the world? It could be art-wise or travel-wise, leisure, whatever, but your favorite city in the world?
Delhi.
Or
I am this.
okay, apart from Delhi, I may rephrase it.
Can I tell you why I love Delhi so much?
Sure.
So, of course, I've been born and brought up here. But this city has so much soul. It has so much to give. Look at how many civilizations have sort of been born, given to its cultures. Yes, many times gone away, but they've always left a sign a mark, a sign. Anywhere that you look within a bird's eye view, you see a monument that's 500 years old. You have your seasons. There is no city in the world that celebrates spring like Delhi does. And there's no season in the world where we celebrate Diwali like we do in Delhi.
Even we do it in Ahmedabad, but of course,
Comparison by
See, spoken like a true Delhi.
I grew up in Bagga, so
yeah, so I'm sure you also know that. Yeah, it is culturally rich. It celebrates seasons. It celebrates festivals.
It's like no other.
Yeah, I know. Even Diwali, you have to come to Gujarat to see that.
Of course. And
Ek baar Gujarat aao.
Delhi, Diwali.
see, every place has its
own charm.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to, maybe why I speak about Delhi with so much emotion is exactly why what Bhavna said, that I tend to be out of it a lot right now in my life. And every time I'm out of it and I come back, I have a new appreciation, even though my plane is landing in a very blurred atmosphere and the skies are gray. But what this city gives to me is my life and my culture and what I love about my country and my life here. And also, to be very honest, the opportunity to make myself what I am. The city gives me all those opportunities, because what one doesn't know, Bombay, for example, is known a lot more maybe for performing arts, and Calcutta is, but Delhi has a very rich tradition of that too, right? So I think
Theatre, the national.
I was going to say that, and opportunities come in every visual shape or form. Like I'm telling you, I could go from the art fest straight into a flower show, and then from that into design ID, and then from that go into some Basant and Holi parties.
True.
So it's something or the other, as far as culture is concerned, is happening.
It's very rich. It's
and
colorful.
fortunately, we also have the space to be able to celebrate. And you can't take away the seasons. You just, that is
Something that is so very like a Sundar nursery,
like it has, Delhi is the only city that has an 18-hole golf course in the middle of the city, right? In contemporary times, in the last 10 years, 90 acres of green land in the middle of the city, we have called back over 35 species of birds that hadn't returned in 50 years. They are growing local fauna, flora. Of course, a lot of that work is also happening in South India. But actually, despite the pollution that we are really infamous for, if you see the aerial view on one of those clear days, it's a very green, beautiful city.
Okay.
Have I sold you?
You have to come to Ahmedabad, as I said. Kabhi Gujarat.
I'm not comparing. I'm just telling you what calls.
Yeah, there is no comparison. And I mean, it's as long as it is Indian city, we all are proud of it. So yeah. And Bhavna, yours?
No. So I love Delhi, and I completely stand up whatever Diana is saying and more.
Okay.
I come from Grameen background.
Yeah.
I was born in Kashmir, and I've grown up all over the country, studied in 14 schools. So my favorites are, cities by my, my childhood memories, nostalgia. Dehradun is like, I love Dehradun.
Okay.
I love Chandigarh.
Okay.
Without East Chandigarh. I love Baroda and Ahmedabad equally.
I'm sure.
I love Pondicherry.
Yes.
I love Siliguri.
Yeah.
So these are all because of the experiences that I've had in the various cities that, I've lived in over the years. So among the cities around the world, I think my favorite outside of India is Laurels. I go there almost every year for the last 10 years, other than the 2 years in between, of course, when we didn't travel during COVID. And whether it's a trip to Venice, Finale, or anywhere in Europe, but I try to make this 3 days out for Florence. Just, walking around the city, eating pasta and challah, and wine and art and shopping, all of that.
The vibe of the city.
It's beautiful.
Yes, totally.
We're always like that.
Totally. Tarana, what is your favorite? Is it cinema or Broadway shows? What do you enjoy? The opera? What do you enjoy the most, entertainment-wise?
So I have a background in Indian classical music.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
And I actually have a degree in it. So I love Indian classical music and concerts. Having said that, I think God's own woman is Abida Parveen. So if I would ever get a chance to watch her live, I will make sure that my travels take me there so that I can see her. But yes, I love the theater. My husband loves the opera, so I tend to watch that a lot with him. But yes, I like live performing arts more than screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Bhavna, you?
I love cinema.
Yeah. So tell us about it. European, Hollywood, Indian cinema. Just cinema. Everything which is...
Not everything, of course,
No, everything which is entertaining and
movie buff.
Okay.
Like if it is anything, and I say to other people, just put me a popcorn, let me sit there and I'll watch anything. It's literally like that. And for the longest time, I did not get OTT in my house. Because
I was just going to ask you your favorite.
No, I was so worried that I watched so much, and I get this from my father.
Yeah.
Like at least in the like I mentioned earlier, you see very small cities around where it was posted, and that was the time of DCR, CP and DCR and all that.
Yeah.
And we'd come to Delhi and we'd be excited and say, "What do you want, Papa? Could you get me a video cassette of what it films?" So from watching Guns of Marrons to all the Alistair McLean classics, to sound music, to growing up to all other that serious cinema later.
Have you seen the Nicole Kidman and Shah?
The perfect couple. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, I love it. And I think Ishan Khatter has done the most incredible job.
But I didn't understand their name, Shooter Deval.
Yeah, a sort of a Indian mix with some other.
And also it's the only title track that I watch in full because they're doing that flash mob, right? So that's really good.
Yeah. It's to be to India because you see, India presented not necessarily, in that little bitch role of a driver, waiter somewhere. I remember Sex and the City and only the cab driver.
No, a good prominent role that Ishan Khatter would
grab. These were a lot of apologetic roles. I mean, they're mainstream
total
roles.
Yes.
Indians get such footage. See Bridgerton for now.
Oh, I love.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
The Crown. It's this incredible quality.
Yeah. Bhavna, tell us about your background, your education, your childhood.
I developed to an armed forces family. My grandfather was in the Air Force, my father in the army. We grew up, we traveled with my father wherever he was posted. He was in the Corps of EME and posted to Baroda for a little while. And there was his colleague's daughter who was studying at Embassy University in India, in the fine arts faculty. And I went there actually for the Garba.
Okay.
I was in class 6 that time.
Okay.
And I was very mesmerized by that whole scenario. My dad said, my daughter, she loves to draw and paint, all of that. So I said, one day, Papa, I'm going to come and study here.
Okay,
now. So that I did not take up painting and drawing post my way. My native was painting. But I took up artistry after that. And I continued to work in that direction. I was the editor of the Bulk magazine. And
there also, wow.
In Chandigarh. And so I took that passion further and never thought that I'd have my own gallery or my visit. I started with curating because a lot of my friends who were in Baroda artists I worked with later also, like Niyati Chadda Kanal and Sakshi Gupta was in Chandigarh and Union.
Okay.
So Vibha Banitia.
Okay.
Vibha was in Chandigarh and Vibha Senior. So a lot of these artists were friends. And so when I passed out, I started curating exhibitions, and that led to kind of, other things like sales and things like that, which I was not very familiar with because I do not come from a business background. So like I said, there's nowhere, this ambition to be a gallerist or an art dealer. It was always this interest in artistry. I also was registered for my PhD at that point, which my family was very keen that I finish at some point, which was in ancient art, and which I could not, but maybe one day I will. So, so that's a little bit about me. Then I opened the gallery after curating a lot of exhibitions, freelance shows that I did in 2010 is when I launched Latitude and Take together.
Both of them together.
Both of them together in the same year.
Okay.
Yeah, I launched in 2009 actually when the first India Art Summit happened.
Okay.
So the pre-party to the India Art Summit was the Take party.
Okay.
Yeah, which kind of continued as a tradition till later.
Great.
And that's when I launched the first issue, the issue called Take's Hero. And now the new philanthropy issue is our 30th issue.
Okay.
So 15 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Tarana, your education, your childhood.
I've been born and brought up in Delhi. I have 4 degrees ranging from history, music, 2 law degrees. I've studied in 3 continents. And I was a practicing lawyer, but I left the practice many, many years ago. And I co-founded a foundation that focused on education in 2004 really, but 2006 is when we did our first fundraiser for this foundation, where we used art as the mechanism for fundraising. And that was really the first time that I came in touch with artists and the art community to realize that they themselves needed a lot of support.
Right.
So in 2007, we were 5 women who co-founded FICA, which is the Foundation for Indian Contemporary Art. And the idea was really to support emerging art. Our director, Vidya Shivadas, is a powerhouse until today. And she is the person who gives it direction and really has taken it where it has, which I think each one of us can say that we are very, very proud of. So I think promotion of art really began from there. But, the more you immerse yourself and the more you interact with that foundation space, whether it be Coach or it be, through readings in wonderful publications like Take, or, the support that you see, like FICA, for example, ran the Student Biennale at Kochi exclusively for the first 3 or 4 editions. And so you're also in touch with academics, you're in touch with students. And that's when you realize that there's so much that is needed and there's so many different layers to this ecosystem where you can support. And I guess it just consumed me full time. Lately, I want to say for the last 6 or 7 years, I have chaired a national task force in art and culture with CII. The primary role has really been to bridge the gap between the public and the private sector and to bring them together. I don't know how successful we have been in that, but one of the biggest successes that we had was the India Pavilion, which I think being on the international scale and being supported by a museum like KNMA, and the curation was based on the theme of Gandhi. I think we very, very appropriately, took India and the art to a stage where I hope that we really justified the talent that it represents. And of late, I feel like I focus a lot on international awareness of South Asian art. I think we are there. We're at that pivotal moment where the world is definitely ready to accept art from our part of the world.
India.
And my primary endeavor is, whether it be in the world of antiquities or it be in contemporary art, to make sure that there is some representation from our part of the world globally.
Oh, great. So, Bhavna, can you tell us about your journey into art? What motivated you to become a gallerist?
What motivated me to become a gallerist? I think opportunities were past college. Like I said, I was, living in this utopian world. I'd come out, I'd create these fun exhibitions and this experimental stuff. When at the meetings, I'd be earning. at that point, the gallery scene was very insipid,
Right.
mostly showing moderns or cerebral or sane works.
Yeah.
So as an independent curator, I don't think there were many opportunities at that point,
Yes.
which I could have pursued. I mean, academic and curation was kind of not going very in hand in hand, and the only experimental place at that point was Poj in Delhi.
Right.
And of course, there are residency spaces all over India, but I wanted to kind of make this my base. So I realized after some time that I did not want to become just a shop for like teach some shows and just like some art and all that. I thought it's better to consolidate my interests under one banner, under either one department, and also it gives me the opportunity to curate and exhibit the way I want, without having to depend on some whimsical institution or some gallerist, So that was my kind of main reason of, doing the shows. It's another matter that once I opened the gallery, I realized that all that comes with it.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not just
Not just a gallery. Yeah, it's a huge responsibility.
To curate this. I feel like doing this now. But when I'm planning that, when you went to masquerade, madam, abhi isko kya batana hai?
Yeah.
Kya karna hai? So show was being put out, and I was down with Dengue Vaka, but I said, okay, you guys are now put out and just put it out. They're like, but which paint color? This or this? I'm like, gone even after 15 years I have to do this, So the thanks to the logistics, and also in South Asia, I would say the same thing for a lot of other galleries was supporting contemporary program, doing things other than just exhibiting the artists. Because I don't think the South Asia galleries do that much more. So we have painters like Tarana, the support for programs and exhibitions, at museums. But how many are there? How many not get that support? I mean, it is so difficult without having, like I said, non-profit spaces in the West. There are experimental things which are taken up. Video art, installations, public editors. The artists can do it and allow themselves to fail, but it's here in India, or I would say, with South Asia, primarily we have the maximum number of galleries that we support all of this when our artists want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I tell them that isn't on your Bentop and your, on your RTG,
Totally. And I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure.
Your production manager.
Yeah.
So it is that. So kudos to all the people who are running in these amazing spaces for so many years, because it's really, really a passion project.
I'm sure. And Tarana, what motivated you to become an art promoter?
I think I was a collector first, and through that I realized that how much support this community needed. And honestly, I've got to say, I don't think this is something that you get into because you want to get into. I think this is something that you get into because you can't help it.
Yeah.
It draws you in
Towards it. Yeah.
and it's a full ecosystem, and it's the conversations that happen, it's the joys that you get. It is that one space where it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. The only thing that's important actually is talent. And that talent that is so incredible in a day like this, where there are so many polarizing factors and there's so much divisiveness, but it's that talent. I think what really brings this space together is actually talent. And that is the biggest equalizing factor and the only meritorious factor in this ecosystem. And that is very inspiring to me, to be a promoter or a patron of the arts.
Okay. So Bhavna, what is the vision behind Gallery Latitude 28 and also Take on Art magazine? And also I'm curious about the name Latitude 28. How did you come up with this name?
So that 28.3 is the latitude of New Delhi.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
So that's how I came up with the name. I thought a lot about it initially when I was thinking of a day and things are just keeping on the thing. That's how it actually is done. Bhavna Kakar fibers that covers that's not very narcissistic.
Okay.
No, I don't want to once, have the very cliche names around the colors and pants and
Okay.
okay. So because I was very keen to make it into a space not just mainly for visual arts, but taking other things under it. So I wanted to keep the gallery out of it and just keep it like just a name which would be used for anything, which is why I think Latitude 2020. Yeah. And
Take on a vision behind it.
the vision behind it, was again the name Take. I did not want to make it with like art something and art something and art something. And when you go and see the art passing list for art magazine, so I said, okay, I wanted something completely different that people remember. Because again, that's always very clear that this is a magazine from India that we cover world art, and I wanted to make sure that the magazine is seen in all the right places, read by, academics or curators or people who are seen beyond all over the world. So therefore the name Take and not make it this India-centric, the names, So the vision was, of course, to promote younger voices in the contemporary art. So the focus was always that, although we do work with a lot of senior artists, more modernist artists as well. And I'm from artistry, and when I first out, I realized, there are no such forums, no voices that can give a platform, because both the arts are, being an artist and being a writer, they're all solitary process. So you need to build a peer plant, peer capability that supports you, mentors you, takes you through, gives you feedback. This is why I started doing the writing workshops, the symposium. So I wanted it not just to be like a print edition where you just put some articles. I wanted to build it slowly into this larger community where
It is really impactful and meaningful. And
which is why we launched the Writing Award. So we have an Arts Writing Award. It's the only one in the region. Because there's editorial awards and there are artist awards, but there's no writing award for researchers.
okay.
Yeah, and this one is not based, not solely for visual artists. It is for filmmakers and, theater people.
Fabulous. Tarana, what do you believe is the most important role of an art promoter in today's contemporary art landscape? And how important it is for Indian art to gain more recognition internationally, in your view? And what could be done in that aspect?
So let me start with talking about being an art promoter from the aspect of being a collector.
Okay.
And since you mentioned the contemporary space, I would say that the primary role of a collector who's collecting contemporary art is to buy in the primary market.
Okay.
That means buying directly from galleries, because that spurs on conversations with the gallerists, the practice of artists, the practice of where they are going, who are they being connected with, and what role can they play. My particular passion as a promoter, which I think is something that India really needs, because we have such a lack even now of public spaces where we can show contemporary art practices. Our museums, other than the private ones, many of which are still to come up, but our national museums are not representative of contemporary Indian landscape at the moment. They're wonderful, but not of the contemporary Indian landscape. So the role would really be to promote contemporary practices and make them available to audiences which don't have a role or an exposure to see them anywhere. That now, if I bring back to my own role, would be, for example, to work in foundation spaces and promote emerging artists and to promote practices for them, whether it be to support residencies, support grants, support awards, be part of juries. These are all very time-consuming roles to play, but actually what I take back as a promoter is so much more than what I think I give to this ecosystem. And then as a collector coming back home, because there is this lack of space where anybody can see it, I make sure that I display emerging art alongside antiquities, alongside very established Indian artists, so that art can be seen for what it is. If it's good art, it will stand its weight and it will stand its ground no matter what. So my role my particular passion is public art. So I think to support public art projects, whether it be in institutions or it be in fairs or it be internationally, would also be something that I think is needed. What has been wonderful in the last 5 years, and I'm sure we'll get to see a lot of it in the latest issue of Take, is the philanthropic initiatives that have taken place. Many new foundations have come up. I, for now in my life, tend to see this with a little different lens, because I feel like the foundation spaces and private foundations are very, very important, and they're really fulfilling an incredible role. But each one at the end of it has a limited fund. So I think when I think about my role in philanthropy for Indian art, there are many platforms that are doing incredible work. And I would like to spread myself across these platforms and support the things that they are doing, because I do believe in collective action. And collectively, I have also seen in my trajectory that when you work together and when you collaborate and when your role is the same, I think you tend to have a greater impact. As for your second question, which is to take it internationally, huge need of the hour. I think a lot of efforts have been made in that. There are private museums like the KNMA that are opening exhibitions and supporting exhibitions internationally almost on an annual, and multiple exhibitions on an annual scale. And you can see the impact that's happening on international institutions like museums, who are starting to see that art and then collect that art.
Of course.
And
there is a dialogue happening. People are talking about it.
Absolutely. And for example, I've just come back from Frieze, and the Indian representation there of the number of galleries that were there.
Yeah.
And also in, whether it was the Masters or it was the Contemporary or it was at the Sculpture Park or the institutions that were supporting museums, the exhibitions that are going to come forward, you can see that there is a big impetus that is happening there as a result of international promotion of art. And what more can be done? So much more of exactly what I have said.
Agree.
Yeah.
So Bhavna, how do you choose the artist you work with? And what qualities do you look in them when you work with them?
Instinct, little bit.
Okay. Do you look at profiles or something?
The educational background, I do look at their educational background. Having said that, it is not the primary factor. I can be towards their value of art practice, which obviously, it evolves and have a distinct piece sometimes. But I'm happy to surprise myself and I'm shocked in when you look at works that not necessarily always fit in my master, but it's completely different. But yet I have, I find an inclination towards that kind of art, or find the artist originality very interesting. So I think originality is what I must call.
Okay.
And individuality.
Okay.
Camaraderie between you and your artist is important for you, or you would still represent an artist you are not getting along well with?
No, I don't think I would work with somebody that I do not get along with, because the gallerist's relationship with their artist
Is important.
Is very important. It is, it's a kind of I think a lot of gallerists play a catalyst to their artist thought. We become mentors over the years, and also,
the mutual respect is very important, and there's
respect is so important, and they were friends, so communication, to meet the artist and gallery needs to be open. There needs to be trust. I mean, within a factory like ours, things like contracts and other commitments like that are like nothing is just the go with the handshake. The trust that I'm working with you. My gallerist will promote me the best way possible, which I feel I need to try to be. And some of the artists, I've it's just from the time that they passed out from college, they're so raw.
okay.
So it's so raw. So it's a previous, it's like a blind. You invest in them. Whereas I see that a lot of galleries would rather wait and see the galleries evolve, the artists evolve,
Their performances over the years.
making way, also then kind of swoop in and pick them up. But that has never been my mandate or the way the programming has been. That's always been with the young, with mid-career as well.
Yeah.
So both of which is very important. And some of my artists are like, Padil Ali, Wasim Ahmad. We have, artists who are not based in India. So to have this kind of a communication open with theirs and follow their practice also becomes tough over the years. But we keep up.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Nana, how do you identify and support the emerging artists? And also tell us about your role in FICA and how is it contributing to the society?
Oh gosh. So how do I identify an emerging artist is the way that I identify any artist. It's instinctively what I like.
Okay.
I have to like it. I have to connect to it. I have to resonate with it. But I support it by not only collecting it, but also by making sure that they have a platform where they are exposed. What has been wonderful is that FICA has come to be respected very, very much, and something that I'm very proud of. And it's taken the collective work of many people who are involved in it, but through the direction of Vidya, that the artists who have been given awards in FICA or through FICA are picked up by galleries and represented very well. So we hope that that plays a little bit of a role in promoting their practices. But we also make sure that we give them an exhibition platform annually. One thing that I feel very, very strongly about are residency programs and the kind of time that young emerging artists put into their practice. I think time is a challenge to everybody, and I can see with the artists that many a time they also choose shorter residencies and maybe programs that allow them to come back into practicing and selling art and making art. I would like to say that I think that there is no substitute for hard work. There's no substitute from learning with things that take time. And I think that is something that I promote with a lot of passion.
Spectacular. Bhavna, what is your approach to curating exhibitions?
Again, instinctive.
Okay.
I do come from background in artistry.
Okay.
And so therefore a lot of it comes from things that I've read in the past.
Okay.
Authors that I still continue to follow.
Okay.
And album processes of the artists who I work with.
Okay.
Kind of so many times lead me to the curatorial process.
Of course, I'm sure.
A bit of both. Sometimes I think of an idea, it's been playing, I read something, I saw, an exhibition somewhere, and and I've had that, in my mind that I want to work around this idea. And while in the process of talking to the artist, so many times the process changes.
Yeah.
Happened with, Gulab had changed once, and I'm working on the concept of the Tree of Life. And I went to chat with him about the exhibition and the idea, because he made this amazing Tree of Life work in Bhopal, and it was a huge mural, and we were discussing that. And I was talking to an art historian friend of mine, Chupatore, who teaches at Berkeley, and I told him that, I had this amazing chat, and we talked about the Tree of Life, and we talked with the miniatures and all of that, and this exhibition is coming up, and he said, but Tree of Life as a concept in mythology was different.
Okay.
And now what Tree of Life is, what is ecology, what is contemporary, center, what is our counting, what are we wanting for, is it stay, are we saying things relevant, what is evil, and what is good,
Right.
all that has changed. There's a gray area. So
So it improvised.
So it does. And then one conversation completely changed.
I'm sure.
The thought process, the whole exhibition then towards Naya and ecology. Not to say that, that's, I'm so impressionable that it did. But I had not probably read enough, and when I did. So, and when I shared this idea with the artists, they were completely on. Otherwise, I would have had like maybe a beautiful show which had, tree of life motives, but that would have been more craft to it.
More traditional approach, but
which was, like I said, which was the way I started, but the change of the way. So artists think for us, they all cut and invent on the way you curate and what
this curator.
Because and I want that that when people come into the gallery with a certain expectation of this is what we expect when we go to Latitude 28. There will be an essay which I always make sure that to find new writers and so the text
Some interesting ways,
so
something new.
regular just to add on, but it should be a part of the thinking process and the mentorship that we give to the artist, in the mouth their work in a fresh voice. So yes, that all that. Yeah.
Okay, Tarana, how do you select themes or artists for your showcases at home in your collection? And do you consider it from an investment perspective, or you see the artist profile, or you see something in them that resonates with you, their work or something? Like, how do you do it?
So, Khushboo, I have always acquired what I like. That is my primary, and by the end of it, my only factor. And the way that we collected art, or we began collecting art, now I want to say several decades, it's not even a decade, was always very organic. It's like we bought what we liked. Many times we bought what we could afford, in the beginning. And it was never from an investment point of view, because let me tell you, if you ask any collector of contemporary art whether they're buying from an investment point of view, they will all cry, because we all are still, reeling from the losses of 2008. But having said that, once you've collected for a certain amount of time, you don't realize it yourself, or I didn't realize it, that there was a certain theme that was emerging. And this happened when we had a huge rehang in the house about 10 or 12 years ago. And it was when I was looking at these works that I realized that what my husband and I had collected was primarily the work of Indian women artists. And once you know that that is your thought, then it becomes a thought with which you collect, because then you want to represent that well. And at this point, we are also trying to complete the holes in that. So the collection is thoughtful. It does not mean that we only buy Indian women artists. In fact, by no stretch of imagination is it just that. The other thought that we have when we hang works is that there is a 20 to 30% rehang in the house every year. Because I do believe that it is responsible not to just collect a work and put it in storage. It is very important for that work to be seen,
to be showcased.
Again, I go back to the fact that because there aren't so many public spaces, we do tend to open our home a lot to particularly international institutions or international people who are coming to see what Indian art is, and therefore it should be ever changing. It's also lovely to have something new ever so often. And I think the third way of hanging would be this whole juxtaposition between antiquity, the very strong connections that you start to see with contemporary, but contemporary representing not just the established but also emerging.
Okay, lovely.
So, Bhavna, what challenges do you face as a gallerist, and how do you overcome them?
So I think it stems from this the whole industry. I would say art business as such, especially in our country, is without any structured norms or rules.
Okay,
it's a very unstructured department, the art department, and which is why it kind of trickles down to the day-to-day work also that you do.
I see that although one has made a kind of a format or there's a certain to do list that we have, in the exhibition. This is the way it works. But the challenges come with working with the artist, and that's the joy of it as well.
Okay.
It changes along the way. It changes. I'm going to get an 8x10 network. Oh, it comes, something arrives and then it's like a 6x40. Oh, I just thought this would work better. And then that everybody started running back and like, okay, let's change the video, let's do the caption. These are very small logistical things.
Yeah.
But
that is what it is all about.
Yeah. Yes, like, it's not a product basis.
Yeah.
It's, it's not, I remember Ami said that I always, for the first time, curated a contemporary art exhibition. And, two of my artists were part of it. It's a late up in New York, and I especially got for the show. And in his speech, and I was laughing, and I said, oh my God, he said, I've never curated a contemporary art exhibition. I've always worked with antiquities or with, the master's works in auction.
Yeah.
And these people talk back. And I was like, yes, so true. Because, because you're like, no one was this, no one was that, things change while you're displaying words. So it's a people-driven business.
True.
Many of them are, then many of them are okay. Once you created a nice address, you can hang it, and you don't need to be around if you wish to be about it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to meet the gallerist, everybody wants to talk about it. The
it's interactive.
To you.
Yeah.
It's interactive, right? So if you're not there, you're not there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So these are the challenges, I would say, because you can't just run it like any other business. You've got to be there. Yeah. And you've got to be there, and you're part of it. And then the ones who are not, you see it across the work that they do, So I think these are the few joys and challenges
that you face on day-to-day basis as a gallerist.
Day-to-day basis, but the support system, like I said again, for the arts, I mean, you go to Norway and the government is supporting the participation of galleries in a frieze or a Basel because they want their name out of it.
Wow.
And here you go to ICR and you ask them to support an exhibition that you want to take somewhere, and then there is this much rent takeism and paperwork, and then
making them understand. Is the biggest challenge. I'm sure.
Relevant.
Yeah.
Relevant. Yeah. So those are the challenges. Of course, it'd be nice if the art system was, I think, better supported.
Right.
And the galleries, which are mostly part of that commercial. Yeah. But I think they need us with supporters in years.
Of course. Yeah. So Tarana, what challenges have you faced as an art promoter, and how do you navigate them? I think one of the biggest challenges that I have faced is the lack of public spaces, and where I would really like to see art become a part of. Urbanization is something that has taken place so actively in our country in the last few decades. And it would be wonderful to see permanent art or permanent representation of art in public spaces, in spaces where, people are and what people pass and traverse on an everyday basis, so that it becomes the part and culture of that city or of that urban space. Because what it does have the ability to do is to also build a community around it and have people
and engage everyone.
And engage everybody.
Yeah.
And, there are so many. So one of the things, for example, that we always look at when we choose the public art program for FICA at the Indian Art Fair is at the India Art Fair is that it should resonate with somebody from all ages.
Okay.
Right? So we've always tried to have something that's a little bit more interactive, something that the children can get their hands on, or something that, even a grandparent can bring a child into, and everybody can get the same pleasure out of it. Because, there is this whole conception that art belongs in a museum or belongs in a space that might be too intellectual, whereas actually art is for everybody. It's something that you make a part of your life. It's something that you bring into your space, and it is not, your space is the outside as much as it is the inside. That's why I think, the challenge of not getting the permission or the licensing to be able to do that, or the fact that the interpretation of art remains in the eyes of the public and in the eyes of other people as being too narrow, is something that needs to be broadened. One of the projects, for example, that brought me a lot of joy was during the pandemic, and it's now on Google Art and Culture, was a project that we did online with the Chennai Photo Biennale of our 2020 hero. And it was a photography visual representation of somebody who became a 2020 hero of you in your home. It was a photo competition where people had to send a photograph of somebody that was their 2020 hero during that year of lockdown. And we received more than 10,000 entries. For somebody, it was their cat that gave them company if they lived alone. For somebody, it was the milkman who, despite everything, delivered that milk to them. For somebody, it was the Zomato guy. For somebody, it was their grandmother. For somebody, it was, the farmers that continued to work, and they had to work in a community to bring food to their table. But it was a project that was so heartfelt. It was a project that had nothing to do with this narrow vision of art and what belongs on a wall. It was art. After all, we are the ones who have to define what is art. And art is. Photography came in. The art was completely contributed by the public, and the outpouring that we got of this project and what it brought to people, it was such a sense of gratitude. But it was also a sense of gratitude, right? Like to say, I have not acknowledged this person who has made sure that I have managed to live my life safely within the parameters of my home. And I would like to say thank you to this person, because that's what kept me going through these months or this year or whatever. So I think this whole idea and definition of art kind of just being stretched and incorporating things that are from everyday life and what you define as art. I mean, I remember when Subodh had his retrospective at the NGMA, there was a particular work which was a stainless steel glass filled to the brim of water. And what is your interpretation out of it? Whatever it may be, point is that I remember it 7 years later. And that is what art is.
It should leave the impact.
And the challenge is, and even internationally, to tell you the truth, I think our laws need to change so that our art can go out, can come back. Currently, for example, art that leaves India is meant to come back within 6 months into the country. Now, supposing that is at an exhibition, another institution sees that and says, we are very happy to have this travel to our country or to whatever. You have to actually bring it back here and then send it, which is again everything to do with it. A lot of energy, the paperwork, the expenses. So I think, there has to be an ease of seeing art. What I'm trying to say is that ease of putting it out there is what I find a huge challenge as a promoter of art.
Agree.
Other challenge?
As an art promoter, always remains the funds. The amount of either organizations or private individuals who are open to support the arts. You wouldn't believe this, but you know that CSR is a mandate of organizations as stipulated by the Indian government. And there are less than 20 organizations across the country that even have art and culture as part of their CSR vision. So something that is actually mandatory and can give so much into this community is also not something that is being looked at. And why are we only talking about it in terms of art? That can include craft, that can include the local artisans who are living there. I mean, if there was just a small rule that if you are building something which is above a certain amount of funds that you're putting into it, you should be required to put a very small percentage of that into the local arts and crafts. You see what that's going to do
community.
for a tax
on the GST on art. It just forbids people to buy
it.
Which was
So these need to be changed.
True. Bhavna, tell us something about your future projects, something interesting coming up or something you are excited about you want to tell us.
I'm very excited about the retrospective of Jyoti Bhatt's prints that we meet next year.
Oh, wow.
About Vidya is curating. And in fact, the exhibition is coming to Ahmedabad as well.
Oh,
So it will be at Bikaner House next year in April. And we are bringing out This Is with Gratitude. And with Teak, we are doing a big symposium of indigenous art, which is being edited and curated by Katya Garcia Anton and Alia Swastika. Alia is the current co-curator of the Sharda Finale.
Okay.
And the issue that comes out will be launched at the next Sharda Finale. And in India, of course, as well. And it will have a big symposium around it with indigenous voices from around the world coming to India and speaking. So I'm very excited about both these projects. I love Jyoti Bhai.
Yeah, I love Jyoti Bhatt's work.
So all we all.
Yeah.
Jyoti Bhai. So very
Excited about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Look forward, definitely.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, Tarana, what are your aspirations for the future of your work as a promoter?
I'm looking forward to the Chennai Photo Biennale.
Yes.
And it's opening in 2 parts in December and in January. It's lovely to have a Biennale, and I really hope that photography is already in the mainstream of art,
yes.
but I hope that it gets more of an impetus. I am supporting the Sunil Gupta exhibition within that space, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Wow.
And I'm really hoping to help bridge the gap between the private and the public sector a little bit more, to make this ease of art being international and also being viewed here with more flexibility and with a larger versatility. And of course, the upcoming project at the India Art Fair, which again, we're in the scheme of, we've chosen our artist, but we are working with them to see how they're going to make it a brand new project.
With Fika.
With Fika. And the Arpita Singh retrospective that is going to come up at the Serpentine. One is really looking forward to seeing more international viewings of Indian art.
Okay, how lovely. So, Bhavna, tell me, what trends or themes are you currently seeing in the contemporary art scene that excites you?
I think miniature art.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, B.N. Goswami used to say miniature is a term, which was used by the Britishers.
Yeah.
And so it's Indian painting. Actually.
For the traditional art.
Yeah, so it's Indian painting actually, which I feel is having a moment.
Okay.
And so it's not a trend, we are going back to classics, but I love the way contemporary artists are reinterpreting miniature painting. And we are lucky to be working with a few of these artists, including Vasu X Vasu, who's working with the local painters and local miniature artists in Udaipur. We have artists from Pakistan and Afghanistan, Khadim Ali, Varda Shabir, Noor Ali Chagani, who works in actually miniature brick, and Bajot Kaur, who's again from Chandigarh, working in Canada, but working with miniatures in a completely different way. Feminist ecologies as a theme. We have a show coming up with Rupa Trivedi, who's actually trained under Salima Hashmi in Pakistan. And so we're opening her show next week in Triveni. So I'm very, very excited to be working with a lot of these artists, but I'm also happy to see, shows around miniature around the world, and Indian contemporary art is getting that movement. So, yeah.
Great. So with this, we have come to an end of our podcast, Chapter 1. But we promise you we will be back soon with more such inspiring journeys of inspiring people. Until then, stay tuned, stay creative. Thank you.